I just can't.
That's a hot take. Hold on to that one.
The secret
is they bring back the draft booster, but it's only via secret lair. What do you mean? Dude, I was born ready.
Whoa. Welcome to May the Zoo be with you, everybody. What is going on? What is happening?
Buddy, you have been involved in this intro for 3 years. You know the line. Say the line.
I'm so bad at the intro. I hate
Welcome to May the Zoo be with you, America's favorite MTG and any TCG Louis decides to pump podcast. I am, of course, joined by the man with something about a backwards hat, and I have nothing else original to say. Louis George.
This is the first time I've heard that line, because every other time the other guy says it, I just tune him out. It just goes out in one ear, out the other, dodges the whole brain.
Well, then my cosplay is not very good this week because you should have done the same thing.
I've seen him. And today I'm joined by Josh. Only one co-host today, just Josh. Dude, what's up with the haircut? Looks good. You got that fade going on?
Yeah.
You just put on your Hawaiian shirt, but when you got here, you had on a tank top and you looked swole as hell.
I am getting yelled at by my wife to finally actually get in the gym eventually. So,
because your wife cares. My wife just doesn't care.
No, she just realizes she has to look at me for the rest of forever.
And no George this week. Full disclosure, it is 12:21 Eastern Standard Time on Friday morning. This podcast goes live at 9 a.m. We are as close to being live as possible without being live today. We'll get this wrapped up, this podcast wrapped up, and I'll edit it and we'll get it posted and scheduled. I may just hit the live button on it rather than actually scheduling it for once.
Do you know the benefit of this?
What?
Shout out Simon. He's not going to drop any news between our recording and the live podcast.
They might wait.
Take that sorcery in your face.
It wouldn't matter. We would still not know the news. We still would not be up to date.
Your sorcery is like #1 content creator, man. Get on this.
So no George this week. That is my fault. I was out with the family last week, so I was delayed. Everybody. No George this week, and probably no George next week because Josh and I are going to be at Gen Con. I'll be at Gen Con earlier than Josh will, which will delay. We'll figure out how to do it, but we will maybe not have Josh or George next week either. But
some of us have responsibilities.
Yeah. This podcast is sponsored by GameGrove.gg. You can go to GameGrove.gg and pick up anything you want. We got Bloomborough this week, big, huge set that everyone's all excited about. You can use the discount code GamerGrove to save 6% off of any of your orders at GameGrove.gg. And we're also sponsored by Cardi.io. Cardio is the play network for a lot of the games we talk about. And you can go to Cardi.io/connect. or contact to get interested in all that stuff. Here's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about Bloomborough and the list slot, the removal of the list slot. We're going to talk about Secret Lair. The joke never dies. The joke will never die.
Even when George isn't here for mysterious reasons.
George. We're going to talk about sheeting in Magic the Gathering.
Did you say sheeting? Can you not drop the...
We're going to talk about the Pokemon scanner stuff that's going on, the CT scanning of Pokemon cards. We're going to talk about Gen Con. Josh and I are going to talk a little bit about what we're excited about with all the promos and all the stuff. And then we're going to ask the question without George here, is Lorcana falling off? He's not even here to defend himself.
Well, it could be a genuine conversation instead of just, bye-bye, goat, bye-bye, goat.
I got my dividends from Disney today. My 2 cents.
So that
my 2 cents.
Bob Iger's the coat.
And then I do have a Shropshire sauce for us today.
Oh, a Shropshire sauce?
Even without George, I've got it ready. So, all right, everyone. Delisting Bloomborough. So Bloomborough got rid of the list slot. Now, this is super interesting. They did not come really out and say, hey, we're getting rid of the list slot. That would not be Wizards' direction with anything. They weren't like, hey, we made a mistake. They didn't put out an announcement that was like, we made a mistake. The list slot.
Breaking news: Wizards play test their sets.
They just kind of They just kind of removed it, and they removed it slowly over time. But this set, you will not see any cards with that little Planeswalker symbol on the bottom of it. That was the list slot. And what they did was they actually got rid of it in Thunder Junk or in Karlov Manor. They reduced it to a 40 card set, 10 of which I believe included the special guest, and they did that again for Outlaws at Thunder Junction. But now it is no longer the list slot; it is just the special guest slot. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I actually think this is a massive win. I liked the list slot because it put unique and reprintable cards into products and helped the sale of cards, gave them, people more things to open and be excited about. But listen, the special guest slot does that.
Yeah.
That's exactly and it does it without reprinting the card in the same art. Now there's not a new version of my player rewards promo Electrolyze with the little Planeswalker symbol in the bottom, right? Like, this is the right way to do this reprint. Because let's face it, isn't special guest just the list slot, Louis? Is it?
Well, no, because it's so much smaller.
But we were advocating for the list slot to be smaller.
And that was my biggest issue with the list slot, is it was, I don't know, whatever. Let's throw out a number. It was 250 cards.
It was way too many.
That were not connected at all to the set. It had no feeling. It had no semblance of draft experience or limited experience or anything built into it to make it fun. So if the special guest slot, which it is curated, and if it can be smaller and can be curated to be a fun, limited environment, I think this is a huge win. I think that's the way they should do it going forward. And I agree with you. Like, I absolutely hate, like, my biggest one is the unglued lands. And like they had I think it was the planes or the
just like one of them randomly
in there. And it's like, why is that being reprinted in 2024 with a Planeswalker symbol on it? Like, it makes it doesn't do anything but piss off people. Nobody was asking for it. Cool. Nobody was suggesting it. It doesn't fit in the set, and it just ruins the collectability of the card. I hated that.
I'll push back in a second, but mine was the Mana War. I opened that card in the list slot like 3 times.
Yeah.
And every time I went, this card didn't need a reprint. And I understand you're trying to make this slot exciting. Like, every time you get a list slot card, it's not always awesome. Like, I get that. I understand that. But man, I just don't need 17 more copies of Mana War with a Planeswalker symbol in the bottom corner. It's the weirdest cards in there. That broke me. That list slot reprint broke me personally.
I assume the idea was like bringing the past history of Magic into the new player base for them to get a taste of what cards were like back then. It did not do that. It just confused people. It makes, even if there is a $2 or $3 card in the slot, it makes it confusing for people who are buying cards, because it's got the same, logo or set symbol on it, and
right. But it
makes no sense. Yeah.
Well, but and they're already accomplishing that, right? Like, I happen to have it on the shelf, and the foil's not a good example, but like, they are like keeping Magic's history alive with things like the Birds of Paradise from Dominaria Remastered that I'm showing on the screen, right? Like, if you're like, hey, I love the old Magic art, I love these frames. We've talked about it before. They do old school frames so much.
Yeah.
That, like, they're keeping that alive. They didn't need this list slot. But I will say, let's just prepare for this being something that we get wrong. Because I have seen posts with what I would consider to be casual Magic fans on Facebook, your social medias, saying, why would you get rid of this, Wizards? Commander players loved this. Now, I'm just spreading the news. Seen the posts.
I think the special guest slot does that for I think that person who's saying that is probably I know it's crazy, somebody on our podcast calling somebody else uneducated, but it's probably just not educated with what like special guest slot is, and it does that. Wow. It does everything that the list slot was doing, other than the pointless garbage.
You're a panhandling moron, dude. Shut up. No, I agree with you. Like the special guest slot, and you made a good point. If they're going to actually curate that, right? And it's going to be because it has to be part of the draft experience because that's the whole thing with the play booster. It's just a better list slot. It's just better.
Yep. Okay, so that was not that much fun because we both agreed on something, so it's never fun. But
hold on, boo boo. Hold on, boo boo.
George would be like, the list slot was the greatest thing of all time. It was great. Nothing has ever been greater. No slot has ever been greater.
Could you imagine George in a toupee?
George, for the entirety of this podcast is just going to be Trump. That's what he is. It's never been greater. The list slot has never been greater. It was the greatest thing of all time. Mickey Mouse, Disney.
We're going to apply Magic the Gathering opinions to presidential candidates, and that is content. That's content, my friend. So we've gotten rid of the list slot, but we added the special guest slot. The next step is to, like you said, we've kind of alluded to, lower the number of subsets we're getting per release.
That. Yeah, they're doing that.
Well, the last standard release had 7. So are they?
Well, Outlaws had 7, but this one only has. This one only has 3. I don't think I have it pulled up. It only has 3 though.
So we have Commander, we have Regular, and we have Special Guests. Right? Is there anything else I'm missing? See,
now they have different, but they do have different themes of slots because you have the cute critter slot, but it's not a different set symbol. That's
totally fine.
Yeah. Yep.
You're never going to convince Magic to scale down the number of art variant treatments that they offer in these booster boxes.
And these boxes are absolutely fun to open and beautiful. This brings me to the next question I was going to ask about Bloomburrow to you. Why is Bloomburrow performing so well in your opinion? What is it about this set that has people buying and spending $230 on TCG Player right now?
Yep. And it is the most pre-ordered standard set of the year by far.
It's $230 on TCG Player, but it's less than that on GameGrove.gg if you use the discount code GamerGrove. So
wink.
Wink, wink. Shout out to the sponsors of this podcast. This guy up at 1 a.m. recording a podcast for you. For Josh.
Also, this guy up at midnight because I live in a real time zone, and we won't get into that this week. So this is truly just a Magic set that seems like it's fun new cards. We've talked about other sets that were driven by reprints, driven by power level, and yeah, there's some powerful stuff in here. I don't want to underplay the power level of Bloomburrow, but it really just seems like something that's actually pulling at the nostalgia, the heartstrings. The theme is something that hits home for a lot of Magic players. And while personally the theme doesn't hit home for me, this is what makes an iconic Magic set, right? If we care about the set, it's more than just the reprints of the box. If we care about the set, if we connect with the theme, right? If we love the art and the cards, how they look, this is what makes a set do well in the short term and the long term. And that's what I think's driving it here.
Yeah, it's super interesting. The singles, I agree with what you're saying, that people are excited about the theme. A lot of the conversations I've had with people have been like the idea that it's very typal, tribal, whatever. But people like Kindred. People like the idea that they can buy a bird, and they can upgrade they can make their bird deck finally. Shout out to Steve at my store who loves possums, and there's the second possum ever printed in Magic the Gathering, and he's excited for possums, and it's just cool to see people excited. And this is what Lost Caverns of Ixalan had too. Like people were excited for dinosaurs and what's it called?
Gods,
pirates. They were excited.
Pirates,
dinosaurs and pirates. And now Lost Caverns also had the extreme reprints, and that's what I don't see here. Like I'm shocked that this set's doing as well as it's doing without any reprints. Somebody was saying to me that this is the least amount of reprints in a standard Magic set, like in the last 10 years. I don't remember the exact statistic they had, but it's been a long time since we have had this few reprints in a Magic set.
Really?
Yeah, there's like nothing. I mean, name a card. There's
I'm not saying that, But when I think
swords, that's basically it. That's the entirety of the reprint equity.
Because when I think little reprints, I think like Neon Dynasty jumps off the page to me as a set that didn't have a ton of reprint equity. And it's another set that we looked upon like very fondly. It was kind of during the dark ages of Magic the Gathering there for a minute, so maybe not as fondly as we could have. But like this is where we don't give Wizards of the Coast enough credit. We talk a lot about like you got to reprint cards, you got to get cards in people's hands. You also have to overcome the challenge of designing new stuff to excite people.
Yep.
And you know, they still do a good job of that.
They do.
That being said, Standard is going to be a wild environment. I think this is going to speed up Standard. There's turn 3 kills going on in post-rotation Standard.
That's crazy.
I mean, we're only getting faster stuff. So look out. That might be a little bit controversial. Like when you play Standard.
I wish Wizards could get Standard back. As a game store owner, I wish I could get Standard back. Nobody cares, though.
It's going to be, first of all, it's going to be a long process. Second of all, more people care than they did at this time last year. It might not be as much more as you want it to be. And I don't think it's going to happen overnight. It's going to be a long process. But like when you get people that buy into Standard now, you know, you get someone attracted, you give them a little sniff, little first one's free. You get attracted to Standard and your deck is good for 3 years, right? If you truly want it to be. That's going to be a win, in my opinion. The life cycle of a normal Magic player is only, 2.5, right?
Right.
Like, so that's going to be a win, and it's going to take time. This is the first pure iteration of what they wanted Standard to be with the rotation change. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
I want to be clear. I don't think it's coming back and just going to be like, everyone's playing Standard now.
And I think this is this type of set that would be so good if Standard was popping and alive. I mean, you would have so many people would be so excited about adding and changing their cards in their deck to this. And you're seeing that with Commander. I mean, people are doing that already. It's just not the same feeling as it was for you and I think, when we were playing Standard and people actually, that was the format, right? Like that's the thing people cared about.
I think it's got a chance. I still think you have to connect your digital and your physical, but I want to give a shout out. Because I almost raged this week. You just mentioned Commander, so I get to rage for a second. Every time you mention Commander, I get to rage. I almost blew my lid this week. Shout out Jim, personal friend of mine, also member of my channel, reached out with a post and said, Magic Online opened up a format.
Oh, is this
one-on-one Commander?
Oh.
I lost my ever-loving mind. We have come full circle. We have lost the thread so entirely.
Is that just because they can't figure out a 4-player loophole, like how to play 4-player?
Commander's available on Magic Online.
Oh, I didn't know. We
We have just lost the thread. We lost it.
More importantly than that, have you seen the other new format that's going around? What? Sharpie Cube.
Oh yeah, where you get to remove text from cards.
So cool, and I want to do it so bad. Sorry, let me rephrase that. That is so cool, and I want to have somebody build me a Sharpie Cube so bad.
There you go. It seems like so much work,
but it seems so much fun. Like if you could find somebody like that right level of human that's just like they're just like on the edge enough to be able to be really good at that, which is like, you know, we've got those in our environment.
We might be them.
Yeah, get the right person who can just make like the coolest and most fun Sharpie cube. I think that would be an absolute blast. Like, absolutely.
The Sharpie cube is cool. I still am a big proponent that, like, with Standard being faster, I actually think it's going to be good for Standard, and Sharpie cube kind of, I don't want to say simplifies things if you know Magic and all of the stuff has changed, like, but it does take a lot of text literally off the cards. So I always wanted Rush to be better because it's so fast and you see so many cards and you're going through things so much. Mm-hmm. I think it's a win for Standard to be faster Magic, and I think Rush could be cool.
The other thing that Bloomburrow's doing is all these raised foils. Do you know that they're unique art?
I do.
That's pretty cool.
I do. I was wondering if you were going to shout them out and celebrate it.
Finally doing that. They're finally listening. Mark Rosewater's aunt finally told Mark Rosewater to listen to us, and they're doing unique art on cool cards. Yeah. It's so perfect. The values are pretty low though. I was actually shocked. I opened one of them and it was like $28. I was like, oh, that's cheaper than I expected that to be.
Listen, man, it's not serialized, and we can scoff all we want, but the community has taken to the serialized card.
Yeah. It's not serialized. They're also mostly rares, which is interesting. So like the base value of the card is already pretty low because it's not like your mythics. Like it's not like they took the mythic cycle and they made these extremely rare or whatever. But it's cool. I'm glad they do stuff like that. And I think those are going to be I think people will want to collect all of those. That's one of those like mini subsets that people will want to collect that I think is always good for Magic.
And Bloomberg's going to do that. Shout out to Sam, co-owner of MinMax, who collects every squirrel that was ever made. He's got his work cut out for him. I think he has a binder. He pulled it out. He showed it to me at MagicCon Chicago. He's got a binder of every squirrel card. If it's a type of squirrel, has squirrel in the name, or a picture of a squirrel.
Wow. He's going to have to just collect the whole set.
That's so like this set is going to be harsh for that dude. Shout out, man. You got your work cut out for you.
Is this the set where you just stop doing it? You're just like, I'm done. They made a set that's just squirrels.
No, because standard Magic is so accessible.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to break the bank to do this. You can't quit now. If they released...
There's no break in the min-max bank either.
That's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, this set seems good. So what's your prediction? Boxes are sitting at 230. I don't remember what we said last week.
I still think we see 220, 218, 215. And there's some room there to come down, and be a bit more reasonable. We could also see a drastic fall off. Do you think after people kind of get their fill, because there's no serialized, we see a quicker fall off here?
I think it all depends on what cards start seeing play in
Standard.
In modern.
Oh.
Modern seems like it's got, because of MH3, it seems like it's actually coming back a little bit.
It never left.
It did.
It did.
It did. I think it's
insane.
I think that matters, and I think what happens at a distribution level also matters. We just had kind of a restock, and even one of the distros had like a flash sale on Outlaws at Thunder Junction, where we could get boxes cheaper than even on release. You're welcome. And and it held up pretty well to that. But it'll be interesting. Collector boxes are gonna be interesting. Play boosters that's the one that's shocking me. Play boosters holding up as high as they are is even more shocking, because that's basically unlimited amount of product at distro.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
141.
In Outlaws, in Modern Horizons 3, and so far it's early in Bloomborough, but like all of these play boosters, I predicted every single play booster, because it behooves Wizards of the Coast to have these things on shelves. They're going to print a bunch of them, right? So these prices are going to come down. Game stores need capital for the next set. They're going to dump. No, man. And people just keep buying them. It's insane.
They're starting to catch on that the idea of $100 Magic box just doesn't exist anymore. It's inflation. I mean, it's the cost of you go to McDonald's and you basically buy a play booster box, right? Like the amount of
McDonald's is a ripoff.
Dude, have you seen the chart that compares inflation with the price of McDonald's? And it's not like it doesn't go in parallel. It's like if inflation goes up whatever $1, McDonald's is $3 more expensive.
Right.
The rate is like crazy.
You know what? This is a common internet meme, but shout out to the Arizona iced tea. That's still 99 cents.
That's crazy.
Still 99 cents.
That just shows you how big their margins were when they
launched. The CEO did an interview. He's like, we still make a ton of money on every tea. Why raise the price? He just said it.
It would cost us more money to get the new bottles printed, new cans.
And then I went and I bought a watermelon one because that drink is delicious.
Yeah, dude, Arizona iced tea is super good.
So good. So bad for you. So good.
All right, let's keep moving on. Let's go to Secret Lair. Is this Monty Python secret layer the greatest secret layer? Is it not the greatest secret layer ever printed?
This secret layer, 'tis only a flesh wound in the history of Magic the Gathering. I think it's being overblown a little bit.
Oh,
I think it's being overblown.
Disagree on something.
Like, listen, Monty Python was. I'm not downplaying Monty Python's neat. It was cooler 10 years ago. Like when it came back around. Yeah, it came back around and it was ironic again, and now it's kind of faded again. This is like Assassin's Creed. Like, yeah, this was cool once. What are we doing?
Bad take.
What are we doing?
That's bad take.
No, this thing's gonna sell really well. But like, we thought the secret layer that was the Princess Bride was gonna be absolutely insane, and it went just fine.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, boom.
Is that a TCG player? Did I order that?
Boom, nailed it.
Princess Bride?
Yeah. Didn't they have that one?
Yeah.
Or was that just a meme? I'm pretty sure they had that one.
$170 on TCG player. Oh my god.
Dude, secret layers are where it's at.
Is that the play these days?
What 100% of the time. It's the play 100% of the time. We've talked about this. Like, if you want the most cookie cutter, hey, here's a pre-built collection, most of the time that will be okay, sealed secret layers is where you go. 100% of the time.
Not the case for some of the Fallout ones, at least.
But it just came out.
This year. So what do you gotta do? Like hold like a year? Is that the
this is one-on-one Commander. We've lost the thread. What, you hold on to it sealed TCG for a year to like, did it 10x? Like, oh man, it's a year.
Is that the secret layer? Is you get a hold of it for a year? Because sometimes they're like some of those Commander decks, they're like instant.
Shout out to the cats and dogs. Yeah, they're instant, but like,
yeah,
that's not the move. You keep it for a long time.
Oh, I think if
you Rudy vault it.
I think if you can double your money on secret layer, you take those gains.
Oh,
like I think
yes. If you can just snap your fingers and double your most of the time, you cannot.
I think you should do that. I think
I agree with that statement.
Good.
But that's a wildly hyperbolic example. Hey, if you could just double your money by snapping your fingers.
All right. So the Monty Python secret layer. So Monty Python is like I love Monty Python.
Expose yourself first. How many are you buying?
Like I'll buy the 30. The limit's 30. So like this is like one of those ones that's really weird. There will be a ton of people at my store who don't know about this. I'll tell everybody. They just won't. And so like if I buy these and I put them in the store at 25% markup, like they will sell. People will really like these. When I walk around at draft, I make the same joke every single week. And every single week, nobody laughs. And one of these days, it'll be funny. When I walk around at draft, when people have their trash, I walk around and I say, "Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!" Like we play Monty Python in the shop all the time. My favorite movie. Love it.
It should surprise me that you're this LGS owner. It does not.
It's just such a good movie. And
it is a good movie. It's funny.
It's magic. This is like I'm usually very against secret layers. I'm usually very against all things
fun and happiness.
All things universes beyond. This fits Magic the Gathering so perfectly. The only thing that is wrong with this secret layer is that it's not a full-fledged Magic the Gathering unset. This should have been the first full-on secret layer draft booster pack set, and it should have been an unset, a Monty Python themed unset. It would have been the absolute most beautiful thing in the entire universe.
I think in your terrible take, you just unlocked the only way to keep unsets around. Unsets are memes from like movies and stuff. No, it doesn't even have to be a secret layer. But if in your unset it's Monty Python and Princess Bride and like it's those characters, so it's hard to go deep enough into Monty Python. You have to be a very serious fan to have a whole booster set, a whole 150 to 200 cards.
Hold on. I think you
No. But for people to appreciate that, people are going to appreciate Bring Out Your Dead, 'Tis Only a Flesh Wound, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think you're going to speak to a very small audience. You're like, you get the joke on this common that'll never see play. Like, it's not Lord of the Rings here, guys.
That doubles up the Monty Python meme.
And halves your sales. But if you mix Monty Python, Princess Bride, and you pick another movie, right, and you have all three of them in there, you could probably get a cool little unset out of that.
I just can't.
That's a hot take. Hold on to that one.
Dude, we will see a Secret Lair draft booster box at some point, or not, and maybe it'll be a play booster box, whatever. But we will see some form of Secret Lair playable product.
That's the secret sauce.
The secret
is sauce. They bring back the draft booster, but it's only via Secret Lair.
Yeah. I love that they also completed the cycle of Tim the enchanter with the sorcerer. I don't know. This just screams to me like the perfect Secret Lair to, if you love Monty Python, it's obviously that. This seems to me the perfect Secret Lair for a flipper as well, which means like they should print a ton of this. Otherwise, this is going to be one of the ones that people are, in a week, we'll be talking about how people are upset about how fast this one sold out.
100%. But like, Secret Lair has to do that. That's what differentiates it from all the Magic product on the shelf. Magic product on the shelf at your game store is meant to be on the shelf. It's meant for you to be able to get your hands on at any given time. We could have the argument that collector boosters should be more limited, and they, to their credit, doing a good job at that so far. But that's kind of the magic of Secret Lair, right? That's part of what makes it so special.
Yeah, that's fair. Did I just see that the Birds of Paradise is double-sided? I didn't know that.
Is it double-sided, or is there two separate ones?
This says with the other side of the double face, Birds of Paradise.
Okay, so it's the African and the European swallow.
It's double. I didn't know that. That's so much.
I thought it was two separate cards.
I did too.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which Birds of Paradise are you playing?
Definitely the African swallow.
All right, I'll play the other side just to be a contrarian.
Yeah. Gosh, that is such a good movie. I'm gonna watch it tonight while I'm editing the podcast.
No, you're not. You're gonna go to bed.
I'm not a huge fan of Martlage. I don't know. Martlage has been reprinted so many times. I feel like it's like a meme now. It's in like every single set all the time. But did that one again.
I mean, it's been reprinted a lot, but every single set. That's.
It's like it's been in. What was it in this year? It was in.
Was it in Lord of the Ring? No, it wasn't.
It wasn't this year. It was in. What set was it in? Oh, it was in
Fallout.
Not Modern.
Wasn't in Modern Horizons 3, I don't think, unless it was in the Commander deck. Oh,
I think it was the Commander deck. It's in the Commander deck.
Was it in the Commander deck?
Yeah. Anyway.
I only play one-on-one Commander, man. I don't know.
Anyway, that's the Secret Lair. I think this is the one. If you're going to, the problem is everybody can put their money into the Secret Lair, and then it's worthless.
They can't. They don't do that anymore. It's not printed demand. They printed a specific number of them. You get them. You don't.
They have to have printed more of this one.
Hey, hot take, that those other Secret Lairs that we were looking at on Twitter are going to juice the sale of the Secret Lair. It's like Brain Dead or something.
Oh, that's part of this, isn't it?
It's the same drop. That's only going to help because the art and the treatment on those cards was gorgeous. I am more excited. And again, I'm casual Monty Python fan. It was cool 10 years ago. I'm an adult now. That's fine.
You keep saying 10 years ago. Monty Python's way older than that. You know that, right?
Yes, I know. I'm talking about when it kind of came around in my life and was like, oh, it's funny and ironic to quote. Oh. And then we all grew up.
I've been watching Monty Python for a lot more than 10 years.
Yes. Are you? Is it just in one ear and out the other? I am not making a claim on when the movie came out, buddy. But the other Secret Lair, man, those look.
The Brain Dead.
Good. Is that what they're Brain Dead, right?
Yeah.
And there's some cool cards. They do. There's a Soul Ring in there because they're reprinted in every set. Soul Ring, buddy.
A consecrated sphinx.
Yep. I think there's another command tower. I love that they keep making command tower variants and Soul Ring variants because like it lets you personalize your commander deck a little bit, and they're not hyper valuable cards otherwise. So they're not like, oh, I'm crashing the value of a Soul Ring by reprinting it.
Right.
No, it's giving you cool versions to pick from.
Another example of that is the basic lands, and there's a basic land secret layer in this, and those always do well because if you want one, you have to buy a metric ton of them.
I just bought a ton of, I think it was Dominaria Remastered retro foil lands, just because I bought I think a 25 of each. When
we cracked open Dominaria Remastered, I kept all the foil basic lands.
I
have a box of like 250 foil basic lands from Dominaria, and I just use them for all my commander decks.
You have to. They look so good.
They do. These lands also look so good.
Yeah, they do. The problem is, like you said,
I'm going to spend way too much money on this bundle. And I very rarely, the last one I did was the Fallout one when I went hunting for maybe it's time I sell my Fallout Mana Vault to fund this secret layer purchase.
It's the old pump and dump. The old Louis DeGeorge pump and dump. I like it.
All right. Let's talk about Magic cheating. You're gonna have to carry the torch on this one, but I will set it up. I was listening. We've talked about this on the podcast.
That YouTube video finally crossed your feed, huh?
What one?
The one you're about to reference.
Which one?
The one you're about to reference.
What am I going to reference?
The cheating at the Pro Tour. At Pro Tour Nadu Horizons.
Which YouTube video?
I don't know the name of the creator. What do you mean? It's got the brownish background with the single guy standing up there holding, I think, the trophy or a card. You're looking at it right now.
That's not it. I'm looking at the secret layer still. It's on the screen. Everybody else knows you're lying. We've talked about this on the podcast before. When I get in the shower, I play YouTube videos. That's where I listen and watch my YouTube videos, is when I get in the shower. And so I just hopped in the shower. I just hit play on whatever. And it was Tim Cast, the podcast, Tim Pool, I think it is. And he, is it Tim Pool? Yeah. 1.8 million subscribers on his podcast. And he was talking about it with, he's an ex Magic the Gathering creator. I don't remember the guy's name. I didn't write it down.
This is wonderful information.
They were talking about cheating and how crazy cheating's gotten in Magic. Now you have to fill up the gaps in because I didn't watch the whole thing.
The Pro Tour was rife with cheating, and let's be very clear to our listeners here. Cheating can be anything from an intentional misplay, stacking your deck, to explorers playing extra land, taking your Dryad Arbor and hiding it amongst your lands and then using it to chump block and swing back and win a game. There's tons of ways to cheat. It can also be, I missed a trigger. Hey, judge, I missed a trigger. Judge comes back, resolves the issue, and then the game state goes in my favor down the road, right? Did you
how is that cheating? How is that second one cheating?
Because did you do that to gain an advantage? Did you wait for there to be another outcome and then did you not actually miss the trigger? When your opponent missed a trigger and then goes back, did you not say something, which is not technically cheating? I don't think you are actually required to mention your opponent.
Missed the trigger to get more information.
Exactly. Did you miss the trigger because missing the trigger was beneficial? Right? That's cheating. So there are a lot of examples of this.
Yeah.
Modern Horizons 3 had literally just dropped. And Paper Magic, ladies and gentlemen, especially at the high level, is a wildly complicated game. Now the question is, was this gamesmanship or was it cheating? I think like most things, it was probably a little bit of both.
Yeah. Apparently there was like a lot of different interactions where people were cheating.
Yes, where things went wrong. Now there was one that happened repeatedly, I believe. I forgot the interaction, but there was one interaction that happened twice.
Not banned, but removed or disqualified.
Yep, they took a DQ.
Yeah.
Which also in high level events, someone taking a DQ is not that uncommon.
Right. So this is not our space on the podcast where we talk, like we don't talk about competitive Magic Josh wishes we did, but I don't know what we're talking about. Here's what I want to ask.
I would love, that would be so great.
Is there a point of which Magic should just become online? Not, and like you're talking to somebody who wants physical Magic cards in this world more than the average person. Like, I obviously have a vested interest in the physical gameplay of Magic, and I think the vast majority of Magic the Gathering should be played in gathering one-on-one. Is there a level of which technology advances in that the highest level of Magic should be played on a digital client that prevents that level of cheating?
Let me say this loud enough for the people in the back, for anyone who's driving and wants to hear our beautiful voices. No!
Why?
Because it is a skill. Remembering your turn order, remembering your triggers, tracking your opponent's triggers, tracking game state, cards played, possibilities left in the deck, opponent's sideboard, your sideboard, that stuff, not having the digital assistance, not having some of those reminders pop up, the options for triggers to happen. This is a skill. It is what makes competitive high-level Magic so beautiful.
Well, and the sustainability of your brain to last that long in a tournament too.
It is a grind. To be a Magic grinder is a skill that takes years to perfect. Traveling to the event, mental prep for the event, getting your time in between rounds, not playing a deck that takes forever to finish. You actually have to do the things your deck does. It actually weeds out a lot of combos that would literally take infinite amount of time, right? These things are part of what makes the game so good. I would rather have judges surrounding the tables, try to keep these boards safe and watch these players do their thing than sit there and watch a digital screen. And I like Arena. I love Magic Online. High level, the world champion is crowned in paper.
I agree with that. I think I agree with what you're saying. So then what is the role of like streaming and live streaming and the live replay and video feed, and how far back should they go? Like, at what point should
the question?
Like, you're talking about missed triggers and timing or whatever. What if there's been if they don't make the call then, or the judge who's watching doesn't make the call then, or the whatever doesn't make the call then, how far back should they go?
That's part of so that's a judge's decision, not a stream decision. That's your head judge's decision when they look back and say, hey, we missed this trigger. There's a policy and procedure there that I don't understand. High-level judges in Magic have something going. But as far as stream's responsibility, and I think what you're getting at is like, should it be the stream's responsibility to point out a missed trigger, to point out this happened, to point out the guy drew 2 cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
The stream, the cast, should do nothing to interact with the gameplay at all. So that is the judge's job.
Guy draws 2 cards. Mm-hmm. Stream sees it. It doesn't get reported to judge. Guy wins. Guy moves on to the next round. Guy will be DQ'd, and the other player will be awarded the victory because the judge will review the footage. Gotcha. Like, but that's already happening. That already happens. Yeah, and the stream should not in real time. Now, it could be that the stream alerts the judge, and then after the game, there was blatant cheating, right? See, I kind of like the idea that there's like a button, not that stream can hit, but there's a button that like the producer can hit, or maybe you have a judge who is watching the stream and watching the producer, and the judge gets to have the 500,000. I don't know how many people watch. So that's a different question, right? Yeah. I like that. If you have a high-level judge watching the footage as the game is played in real time, and they can be like, "Oh, chat saw this because chat has a bunch of eyeballs on it that we don't." Pause the game. You cheated. Kick him out live. Kick the guy out live for cheating. Kick him and watch him cry for being a dirty, no good, rotten scumbag of the universe for cheating. Looking at you, John, who used to cheat out lands in casual Magic. Dude, if John still plays Magic, that'd be crazy. Or Louis. They have to run the gauntlet.
they have to cage fight all the other Magic participants. If they win, they get to stay in.
I like that. I like that a lot.
No, but there's absolutely no reason. I love online and digital Magic because it makes Magic more accessible.
Yeah.
The beautiful game of Magic the Gathering at a high level, anything that's rewarding, in person, championship tier, pro tour, that should all be done in paper. And the fact that it is
they did didn't they do some events pre-pandemic? Or maybe during the pandemic they did that?
It was during the pandemic they did. And then towards the end of the pandemic, they had already set it up. So they did a weird one where it was like the participants were at an event
on
playing Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, that's fine, but it's not Magic. Certain things are taken and done for you. Yeah. It's great for casual Magic. It's great for ladder grinding. It's great for, if you get Mythic #1 rank, it means something. Even if triggers are handled for you, that is hard to do. But the Pro Tour is sacred. Leave my paper Magic alone, buddy.
I wasn't. I was just asking a question.
Leave it alone.
I was just asking a question.
Leave it alone.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's get into Pokemon card scanning.
You don't disagree with me on enough Magic topics this week. I feel like you're coming around.
Listen, we usually agree on Magic topics. It's usually the other one that's not understanding what we're talking about.
I know the most about Magic. Again, nobody knows. I asked this guy next to me. I said, guy next to me, who knows the most about Magic? He's like, you do, George. And I know that he knows that I know about Magic.
All right. So I did a video on this week, but there is a guy on the good old YouTubes who scanned unopened Magic the Gathering cards and was able to, or Pokemon cards. And was able to, looking in a CT scanner at a pack, was able to figure out what card was inside a loose pack of Pokemon, vintage Pokemon. What are your thoughts? Oh, there you go. So, yeah, dude, this is crazy. This is so interesting to me. And it's a big deal when you and I both get people messaging us.
Yes.
Hey, you should do a video on this. You should do, because used to happen when we were in smaller games. Because
yes,
because
there's 7 of us.
We were bigger fish in a small pond. Now that rarely happens to me that someone's like, hey, you should do a video on this. Almost maybe twice or 3 times in the last year has that happened. And this one's wild. I
let my Discord make content for me all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Those guys are so much smarter than I am. It's wild.
I still don't fully know how to feel about this.
What do you mean you don't know how to feel about this? This is
so expensive for the normal person. So this guy basically, let me tell the story. You correct me where I'm wrong, because
Sure.
A guy bought a used, basically CT scanner that was broken.
$1,500,
which is not that much money for what he's doing here.
No.
It had the knowledge to use it and to fix it.
Stop there. This is what makes it unattainable. So everyone just remember, fixing a CT scan machine is probably beyond all of our expertise. Yeah, go ahead.
It seems like a CT machine should cost a hell of a lot more money than $1,500
and be wildly complicated to fix, right?
Yeah, it seems like that. I'm not
changing a tire.
My wife's basically a doctor. She talks about stuff.
Oh my gosh, you can just do this for free.
I mean,
you can just do this.
I could actually legitimately almost maybe do this if I wanted to. The difference is my wife would never, ever.
She would kill you.
I could be like, honey, I could scam the world out of $300,000, and she would be like, no, I'm not using the CT machine to do Pokemon.
Just have a medical malady and put it under your shirt.
Yeah,
just bring it in.
But okay, so he not only it was $1,500. Sure. He had to fix it. He didn't have the knowledge of fixing it, but then it took thousands of hours, presumably, of honing in the details to figure out how to do this. But the end result is that he could take a pack of vintage Pokemon and see if there was a holo in there. And if there was a holo in there, he could see what card it was due to the contrast of the holo pattern to the non-holo Pokemon. There's something else I want to say. In the last part, he also said that he has already filed a patent for this technology to be used in Pokemon cards, which I'm not sure how I'm not a patent lawyer. Let's just pretend that he can get this done and that he then creates a business that makes this a whole thing.
So
what does this mean?
Would actually be helpful to have George on the podcast there. In fairness, what might actually be helpful to have him.
Mm-hmm. You let us down, George. We don't even have fake George this week.
That's you let us down there because fake George is pretty good. Fake George is pretty good.
It's 1 a.m. I'm here. That's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. I'm here.
I hear you, buddy.
It was a chat, or you're not chat.
Chat.
It was
chat.
It was either this is the decision I was put in today. I was put in either me and Josh record this at this hour, or just me and George go live at 9 a.m. Meanwhile, my kids are out there. It's loud. My wife didn't know that I was going to be doing it.
George is at someone's house.
George is
not
at
home.
House, not at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been a disaster. Anyway, Pokemon scanning. What do you think?
So anything to get off the George off the podcast? You made the right call, buddy. We believe in you.
I agree.
Let's anger the comment section beehive.
These are the decisions I have to make in real time after I am not available to record the podcast.
You hear that, George? Best friend slot acquired.
There you go. You guys can compete with Donald.
I quit. This said more to me about the creativity of people in our space. Every once in a while, I'm reminded that fans of trading card games aren't all just programmers that work out of their basement or owners of game stores.
Yeah.
Like the fact that somebody had the ability to do this. That being said, money doesn't seem to be an object in some of the vintage Pokemon communities. So that if money's no object for you and you could just do this, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Well, money's no object, but also the amount of money that can be made is massive. Pokemon's weird. Vintage Pokemon's weird because there's already a red light or green light on vintage packs. You have the light packs and the heavy packs. So every box of 36 Pokemon, you can, if you do the math, there's, I think it's either 8 or 6 holos per box. And
you can weigh out the holo.
The holos weigh more. So you weigh out the box and then you take your 24 packs that are lightest and you put them in a pile and you put your other, whatever it is, packs. I guess in that case, it'd be 12 packs. Whatever number of holos you're supposed to get in a box over there, and you have your heavy packs, and you're basically guaranteed to get a holo in a heavy pack. Now, because of that, a guy with unlimited resources,
Louis to George,
looking at you, Leonhart, whatever, a guy with infinite resources.
Oh yeah, I guess that's fair.
A guy with infinite resources and connections.
Or
even if you don't need to buy this machine. All you need to do is buy the time from the guy who can use it or fly out to him with 80 packs or whatever, put it in your machine, and now you can choose, all right, these 5 packs have the Charizard. I'm going to open those packs. I'm going to sell the rest. So now when you go and you buy a guaranteed holo, you don't know if this has been searched or not.
Are you getting the worst guaranteed holo?
And here's the other thing that people have been saying in my comment section on my videos is if this is now public, how long has this already been going on behind the scenes where nobody's known about it?
I think that's a taller task because it's such a complicated procedure, and money is no object, but it's such a complicated procedure for this to have been going on and not leaked, at least in the inner circles.
Yeah. And like the guy who did it doesn't seem like he's got he kind of made it sound like I had these packs laying around that I wasn't allowed to open when I was a kid. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's connected to the people who would be
doing this nefariously
in the next Rattle Pokemon video. You know what I mean? Like he just doesn't seem like he's connected to that
so
world.
Like, this is, you know what the missing market of this is? And I think is, you always talk about, okay, you sell the crappy hollows and you open the Charizards, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I can guarantee Lionheart he's going to open a first edition Charizard on camera? What's that video worth to him? Plus having the first edition Charizard?
It's not fun anymore.
Well, but like in the world where, you know, this doesn't ruin the market, what if I can guarantee the biggest streamer he's gonna get the biggest pull? Like in Pokemon, that's huge.
So you just again, so like that person's just faking it because they know.
Yeah. That
I'm too naive to think that somebody would want to do that. Like, I don't know.
I get accused of like juicing packs or swapping out the video when I open a bad box, even on my small channel. Like, it's got to happen all the time on major channels like that. So this drastically changes the market if it becomes viable. It sounds like it's extremely hard to do, right? But if the technology spreads and the ability spreads,
this is now a thing. And if you have the money, you're going to reach out to that guy and be like, hey man, I'll pay you $500 a pack. I don't know. I mean, you can make a lot of money at $500 a pack, knowing that you're pulling first edition Charizards out of the heavy packs. Like, and if you already have, like, a lot of those guys, they already have lots of packs. They already have lots of product. They already have lots of things. And additionally, they also have the base of customers to move the rest of the junk in a quick, like, vintage Pokemon packs don't take a long time to sell. Like, they move very quickly.
Yes.
It's a very hot, even the light packs. I mean, I have 12 light packs right up there. Like, even the light packs sell because people want to display them. So, like,
go ahead.
I don't know. This is wild.
This is the bigger deal, and not a modern booster box. But if you can look into this,
and
now we're in trouble.
It seemed like he was gonna be able to do that.
Because right now, let's say this happens and it destroys the loose pack market. Well, you still have this, right? If this is compromised,
that market's also going to get wrecked because people are going to be buying those to do the pack thing too.
Well, but then it makes this even more valuable.
That's going to be more. That is going to be more valuable in 6 weeks. I mean, that's going to catch up pretty quick.
Unless the follow-up video is, I can look into this. If the follow-up video is, I can look into this thing, then we have trouble, right? Because now, how do you guarantee anything is secure?
You don't.
We're looking at, and you're having this when you see popular streamers get into the Magic space, right? Opening alpha, beta, and beta boosters and finding out how many of these are repacks. How long has this been going on, right? You're going to have a shift like this where, like, wow, this stuff isn't nearly as secure or as fun or as guaranteed as we thought it were. There's been bad actors for a long time.
Right.
This is going to create a scenario like that for years to come. I think this is a massive deal.
You might be able to do it with the Fusion Strike box to find the few Fusion Strike boxes that have hits left in them.
No cards in them. These boxes are more expensive than I thought they would be.
Yeah, dude.
And they've got no cards in them. Pokemon community, what are you doing?
This is what I've been trying to tell you guys for months about Pokemon. That those sets, those Sword and Shield era sets, are going bonkers.
This box does not have rare cards in it. Why are you buying them?
It does. It's got that in it.
No, one guy's got them all.
No, I guess it's me.
One guy has all of them, and they sold them at your game store. Now we know. Good.
So as far as Magic goes, people have already been X-raying Magic to know inside of starter decks if a beta starter deck had alpha
corners. Yeah,
that's already been a thing, and that affected the market in a positive way. I think like nobody was like not buying the beta starter deck because they didn't have alpha cards. It was kind of like a pro thing, and you can't tell what the card is.
it's not as relevant either, right? Because the beta starter decks that have alpha cards are a small, like this is every vintage Pokemon pack. This is way more widespread.
Yeah. And you can't tell, like, this is not a risk for Vintage Magic because Vintage Magic doesn't have hollows, so you can't tell
yet. There's some people claiming that they have the CT scan skills to pay the bills, y'all, that they're going to be able to do this. I don't understand how the science like that would work. My tiny computer brain can't understand if it's not hollow. How could you possibly tell? But who knows?
I'm going to go ahead and take the opposite take on that and say there's no way that anybody will ever be able to tell them they're liars. They're dirty, rotten, lying liars who lie.
I tend to agree with you, but if that happens, that's a
I think that's a less of an issue. There's so few Vintage Magic packs compared to Vintage Pokemon packs.
And there's already, like, Vintage Magic packs already have the stigma of are they searched, are they not? So they've kind of been living in that space for a while.
Yeah, because of the light test that you can pop the card up.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, opening up Vintage Pokemon, maybe, like, it's changing a little bit with Pay Money Wubby and Penguin Zero or whatever, and those guys coming into the scene and opening up Vintage Pokemon or Vintage Magic. But opening Vintage Pokemon is such a major part of that hobby. So, I don't know. It's very interesting, though.
How is it such a major part of that hobby? It's crazy expensive. It's insane.
Yeah, but like that's what it is. Like that is what people do with Pokemon. They open packs. Like Magic, most of those guys they want the cards to play with. They want the thing, whatever. It's just different. I don't know how to explain it. It's just different.
Yeah, that's true. People can't play Pokemon.
It's hard to explain why it's different, but
well, because you have to do something with the cards that's not the game system. So, like, you gotta do something.
It's just that kind of level of collectability. Okay, speaking of level of collectability, Gen Con. Josh and I are going to be at Gen Con. Come say hi if you see us. Josh will be the really tall one.
Louis the really good-looking one.
I always forget. You're gonna I gotta up my game, dude. You got a nice fresh haircut. You're making me look.
I got a month. I only have a week to root. It's a week away.
Somebody today was like, I was talking to my rep. She was like, yeah, it comes out August 12th. I was like, okay, well, do you want to call me like in 4 weeks then or whatever? She's like, that's like next week, buddy. I was like, oh my God. What happened to July? Where did you go, July? It's over. It's over.
Dude, this is going to be a good year. I will see you more since we made the move to Magic than I ever did before.
That's it. Maybe that's what we wanted.
It was the plan. Oh, you're bringing Commander decks for me to play, right? Since my one was stolen by someone at your store, a nefarious bad actor, the Deep State.
I want to bring board games.
I thought you were
sorcery. We're gonna have to play lots of sorcery. Like
I'm not playing sorcery.
Why not?
I told you that's my claim to fame. Is I own all the sharks and I've never played a game. This is, by the way, on my desk. Shark for your event.
There you go. You're gonna bring it. So
yeah. I'm not shipping this. Shipping costs went up, buddy. I'm just
I wanted to talk about that, but we forgot about it. Shipping costs have gone up like crazy.
We didn't forget. I did no work on the topics today. You forgot, and you get credit for forgetting because I did no work on the topics.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm cosplaying as George. What do you want from me?
All right, so Gen Con. Let's talk about the promos first, and then let's talk about what we're excited about for Gen Con because we want to give the people what they want, which is promo news.
And let's remember something while we get into this discussion. Paying $100 for promos at Gen Con is bad and a joke. And what are you doing with your game, the worst run company ever? Paying $100 for promos at a con named D23, not Gen Con, is the best decision ever. How could you ever do anything different?
Okay, so let's start there. We'll start with Star Wars and then we'll go to sorcery.
Sure.
This is the sorcery segment, by the way, everybody. Welcome. The Star Wars promos are already only selling for $400 on Facebook. They came out at Comic-Con was this week, I guess. Comic-Con,
Did you see the line?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh God, I'm not looking forward to this line.
They're only selling for $400. That's like, I mean, like, that means next week after at Gen Con, those are going to be, the Star Wars promos are going to be like $200.
Well, according to you, you're going to double your money. Snap and do it, baby.
I'm not doubling my money if I have to wait in line for 4 hours. That's not, like, I'm not.
I'm your close friend at this point. Your time is not worth that much, my guy.
It certainly is. Especially if I'm at Gen Con and I paid to be there.
It is 1 a.m. and you're recording a podcast about trading card games.
This is my whole life, man. What do you want from me? That'll be really interesting to see those promos because they're so expensive. Charging $100 for promos, and then like, what if they don't hold up on the site? Like, if you're a game company, you need those promos to be $400 to $500 on the secondary market if you're going to charge $100 each, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to charge $100 each, they need to be more than $100. That's for darn sure. And like, you would think they'd be more than $100. But if they hit that $100 point, if people are trying to get their money back, that's bad news bears.
Yeah,
that's bad news bears.
So that's going on, and then Sorcery is going to have a booth. They're like leaning into it. They were a little bit not leaning into it because I think they didn't think they were going to have a booth, but they've got a booth.
Let's go.
They're going to have a promo, and then Melissa Benson is going to be there, who's one of the great artists of TCGs, but Sorcery in particular. So she'll be there. This is going to be sweet. I'm excited. We got to get you to play a game.
Where's Alan Pollock gonna be?
Are you gonna try to get that signed?
If Alan Pollock is there, I'll bring every shark in the tank, baby.
No, you can't get them signed.
Why not?
Sorcery might be one of those weird games where getting cards signed adds value, like MetaZoo.
I gotta be honest with you. I can't imagine I ever sell the sharks.
Why?
So what does it mean? Why would I?
If you don't get a fake fish tank in the background and put the sharks in the actual fish tank,
I cleaned up my background. It was too busy. It was too busy. I cleaned it up.
You need waterproof card sleeve. You need waterproof cards in like a waterproof.
Which company can I get them graded by that gets them waterproof? You did a video on this.
That you should just get them graded by a bunch of different companies and then see which one lasts the longest.
See which ones are ruined in the fish tank.
You have a fish tank with they're just floating. In my brain, it was like they were set up well to look good.
But no, they're floating flat, so you can't even see them.
You're like,
you can't even see them.
Oh, that'd be so good. Anyway, Gen Con, I'm excited. I'm just excited to play a bunch of board games, dude. Like I never get to play board games, and I'm excited to play board games all weekend.
I'm excited to go to a con. Cons have good energy. We did it for MagicCon. There's great energy at MagicCon. I'm excited.
We did it better this time. We signed up for an event.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't do that at MagicCon.
I did. I played events at MagicCon. You didn't.
Yeah, I forgot to sign up.
Events.
We are doing with Donald what's it called?
Outlaws of Thunder Junction, I think.
Yeah.
I think. Sealed box, like three-headed giant sealed box event.
So we'll build 3 decks with 1 booster box, and then we all play individually.
Can I tell you what I'm most excited for?
Meeting Donald.
I've met Donald. I was there when he top 8'd. I took a picture with him because he's my hero. I am most excited for Donald and I to have a blast and you to take this way too seriously.
Take what?
That's what I'm... this event. I am most excited for that.
No, I love you and Donald. Donald will 100% take it more seriously than I will. And I know he watches this podcast and he will hear me say that and he will try his best to not take it seriously, but he can't just casually play card games. He's one of those. He's one of those people.
He's good at card games.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Donald's the best card game player I know.
Donald's pretty good at card games. He top 8'd in Pauper.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
He's so good at Lorcana. He didn't even play in our championship. He just runs it.
He top 420'd, I think, or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, Gen Con's gonna be great. I'm excited to see people and to hang out and to play board games.
What's the price of the Star Wars promos when you get your first set in hand?
$250.
$250 down from $400.
I think so. Listen, cat's out of the bag on Star Wars.
Yeah. Imagine that. You should be able to open the box and play with it.
Yeah.
And when you get a box,
they miss the line.
When you get a box, it should not be damaged and destroyed. It should be like in good condition.
Dude, those boxes, did I ever tell you that story? Those boxes
I lived it. I lived the story.
Those boxes got delivered to me on a pallet. And
like scuba gear.
I didn't get enough boxes to receive a pallet of the product. Like, I don't know what they were doing. They sent a pallet and there was like 4 UPS boxes worth of product. Like, it makes they must have saved like $6 to send it on a pallet rather than ship it UPS. And they destroyed all my boxes.
I'm a very small YouTube channel. I understand sharing this or saving the $6. I get it.
Did you work that out with Justin?
First of all, first name dropping and doxing. Geez, Screen Watcher 33.
Did you work that out with Screen Watcher 33?
Yeah, I sent him I sent him some meme stuff in there and an Ultimate Masters. It's like a $20 booster pack, and then I messaged him on the side and said, "Hey, audit everything, and if stuff is damaged, we'll send a refund."
I know. He said you sent him that. And I said reply to him and tell him that you want the exact cards that were damaged. I said,
oh, I would have told him no.
I said, tell him you don't want a refund, that you want the cards that you were rightfully deserved, and make him buy them for you on TCG Player.
And I would have told you no, you can have the money, or you can. Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome about it.
He's too nice.
And he said he didn't pull anything sweet from the other packs. There was MetaZoo and Cryptic packs in there too. I said to sell you the singles to make his money back.
That's good. Anyway, Gen Con going to be awesome. If you are there, make sure you go to the sorcery table. I think that Josh and I will potentially record something from the sorcery table, whether that be...
Oh, we 100...
Yeah.
It might not be amazing to be with you. We're recording something from the sorcery. Oh, well, if sorcery lets us. I'm saying that very boldly.
I think we're good.
Okay, are we? I am so excited. Maybe.
I guess the ball's in their court. We probably should have done a little bit more for the sorcery section just to warm them up this time around, but it is 1:30. Did I tell you that I took a nap before the podcast?
I hate you so much. I'm so tired.
I fell asleep on the couch watching Tires.
I hate you so much.
I fell asleep on the couch for an hour. I set an alarm to make sure I woke up.
That's high level adulting. When you acknowledge that you might fall asleep and set the alarm, that's when you know you made it. Because I would have just fallen asleep. And I would have had 4 texts from you. I guess we're not doing the podcast. I'm like, oh, guess not.
What would I have done in the morning too? I would have been so pissed.
Yeah, you would have. It would have been bad.
All right, Lorcana. Is Lorcana falling off?
Is Lorcana dead?
Shout out to Donald, who's screaming at the screen right now. Lorcana's not dead. I actually don't think Lorcana's falling off. That's going to be my take.
Darn it. I tried to bait you and everything.
Unbaitable. I am unbaitable.
That's not true. You are a masturbator, dude.
I'm unbaitable. So here's why I think that. We just had 30 people at our set championship last weekend. Sure. It was huge. It was huge. It was some called it the biggest set championship that Game Grove has ever had. It was huge.
I asked my friend, I said, isn't this the biggest? He said, it's the biggest. Of course, it's the biggest I've ever seen. He said that. Didn't you say that?
God. I love election season. Can I just say I love election season on this podcast?
It is always a good time.
It is always a good time.
always a good time. In fact, I have to stop myself from mocking the candidates too much.
Yeah.
I have to pull back.
At least we kind of know what the candidates are right now. I guess it will probably change again, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Like, do we even elect them anymore? Do we vote for the candidates, or we just get told who they are? So, right. I think, in fairness, I think Lorcana has leveled off. I think we've stopped seeing the meteoric rise, right? As any good hype mix happens, it's rise, levels off in the middle, and then you hope for a later rise. I think we have leveled off for now, and to their credit, they answered the call on making boxes readily available. But the next challenge now is to not continue to overprint boxes, thinking that you're going to grow like you were originally.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Shimmering Skies all the way already at $115 a box.
And it doesn't come out for what, another month?
Yeah, it's $8.23. Yeah, so about a month. Yeah, like that's not. Actually, I think it's less than 2 weeks away because I think LGS is get it 2 weeks early, right? So I think this is the actual release day.
But that's the beautiful dance, right? The beautiful dance, and the reason we don't envy the sorcery team, the reason we don't envy TCG creators, is because you have to find balance. And no one's saying it's easy, but that's what you're tasked with. I
think this is the right thing for Lorcana to do.
Yes.
I think they are handling it well. I think any game that comes out, you're always going to have those who are just looking to flip the things that George accuses me of. Those who are just looking for quick tendies and the quick flip. And those people have left Lorcana. I'm honestly not sure where they're going, though. One Piece is kind of trying to become Lorcana now, where they're just like reprinting everything. Star Wars is... Those people can't buy Star Wars boxes.
Taking the other path.
Because they printed like 13 boxes and have done nothing to like act. You still can't even get playmats for Star Wars.
Right. And if you were going to lean one way or another.
Everything in Star Wars Set 2 is delayed. They just shipped deck boxes. Playmats they still haven't produced. Like it's like completely... It's ridiculous. If
you were going to lean one way or another and you made a trading card game around Disney characters, around Star Wars, around One Piece, Lorcana is leaning in the direction that I would prefer.
Yeah.
Because like you have a predefined giant audience to try to convince to buy your product, right? That already have a foot in the door. Right. You've got that advantage. So make the product available. And yeah, you'll tick off some hardcore TCG fans, but you're going to grow faster. You're going to have more people willing to try you out. Like that's the way to go.
I think if I'm Lorcana now, I would go ahead and out of print first chapter.
I don't think you ever out of print anything. I think that's a weird concept. Well, you out of print it internally, but you don't make an announcement. Like it
Maybe
doesn't.
Yeah, we got in this weird world where games were all about the announcements and stuff.
Yeah, and if anything, they're going to out of print their third set first, and that's when we know they're in trouble.
Yeah.
What a weird move.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Weird freaking move.
I don't know. I just feel like you're beyond the point where the market. Like, I think you're beyond the point where new people care to get first chapter. Maybe I'm wrong, but like you're kind of like there's plenty of other sets for them to hop into the game. You're not preventing the game from growing at this point.
Bingo.
There's plenty of new places for you to get involved in Lorcana now.
Bingo.
And so I think you might want to, if I'm the team at Lorcana, I might want to double down on that base that maybe has left the last 6 months and give them something more. But I don't know.
I don't think internally, do they need to make more first chapter right now? No, but let's say Lorcana goes through another meteoric rise. Mm-hmm. Let's say there's some catalyst, and early next year, early 2025, Lorcana just spikes, and we're seeing box sales go like crazy, and the number of products. It would be nice for them to be able to be like, if they auto print first chapter, but it'd be nice to be able to do like, hey, we're gonna do first chapter drafts at your game store all March long, the month of D3 or whatever it is long. And if they auto print first chapter, they can't do that. That was collecting, right? Collecting was playing the game. Was like, hey, they didn't say this is out of print, but it doesn't behoove them to print it, so I feel comfortable collecting it. And that's what makes it's exciting. It's a risk.
Right.
It adds value to the people that choose to do it because they're taking on more risk. Because stroke of the pen, Lorcana could just be like, more first chapter.
They could do like we'll do something with the 6th set that allows you to build a deck with 1 pack of each Lorcana set. Like we would do that at Game Grove, I'm sure. And I could see them doing something like that as a, hey, here's how we're going to give every store another booster box of first chapter, right? Like
100%.
You have to be running this event in order to get your box at the distribution level. But yeah, so I don't think that your major games, and Lorcana's it's a larger player in the space. It hasn't eclipsed either of the big two or come close. Volume wise, it's got to be close to Pokemon in terms of. You don't think it's close? On TCG player, at least?
No.
Not
anymore. Okay. Not anymore. And we understand we have to let the hype cycle die down, but Pokemon is back solely in the spot ahead of it. Yeah. Early in the hype cycle, it was close. It was competitive, which was wild. Like I didn't think it would even with the hype cycle have that much interest.
Yeah. Speaking of Pokemon, dude, Scarlet and Violet era. Sorry, I'm exhausted. Scarlet and Violet era is starting to turn. You're starting to see some like expensive boxes. Twilight Masquerade is doing super well. It's starting to turn. I knew it was going to happen. I told you guys. All right, time for the Shoreshire sauce. Okay, Josh.
Louis.
Are vacations just a scam?
This is a bad time to ask me this.
Why?
I consider me going to Gen Con to see you kind of a vacation.
Then yes, it's totally a scam. That is a scam.
And I'm legitimately excited for it.
That's the saddest thing that's ever been put on this podcast.
It's mostly because I won't be working.
It's too bad George isn't here.
It's mostly because I won't be working.
I don't know. I think vacations are a scam. I just wanted to come out and say that. I'm exhausted. I just got back from vacation. I'm exhausted. I'm far more exhausted now than I was before I left for vacation.
And I'll say this as a person who absolutely loves his family. My little girl, light of my life. Do anything for my family. My wife, my daughter. Family vacations might be a scam. Yeah. Getting away with just my SO? Just my wife? We're drinking, we're dancing, we're trying restaurants. Oh, it's a vacation, baby. Now when we're with the family, we're trying to do stuff for the kids. We're entertaining. We're up, we're down, we're napping, we're moving. And they're all still young. That's not a vacation. You signed up for a new job. You have a temporary employment for a new job, and it's very hard.
It's the extended family that does it, that gets me there. Like going on vacation with just my kids and my wife would be zero pressure. We'd be like, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that. There'd be no arguments. There'd be nothing. But you add into the mix the pressure of the family,
aunts, uncles, and cousins. That's what I was referring to. It's because everyone wants to do something.
And then
everyone's got their own agenda.
The driving, and then you got it. This is just turning into a
driving.
You've got to plan out all of your I can't just leave. Like I've got to make sure all my staff knows. I'm missing Bloomberg pre-release this weekend because I got a wedding this weekend. You got to make sure everybody has everything in line and all the product is ready. I mean, it's just a whole thing. So
listen, it's as the now sole tech person at the office. I guarantee. I went to a bachelor party in Lake Geneva last weekend. I had Friday off work.
Nice.
I was pulled over on the side of the road when my buddy's wireless hotspot on. Working halfway to, I couldn't even get away for 45 minutes of the drive up there. It's only an hour and 15 minute drive.
Maybe it's us. Maybe we're too addicted to work.
Or we're suckers. I don't know. It's something.
Anyway, that's the Shoreshire sauce turned into a Shoreshire bitch fest.
Listen, if he was here, that would have been the whole podcast. So like, we got to pay him homage a little bit.
I love vacation. Let me tell you about the greatest vacations I've ever been on. Every day is a vacation. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're never taking a vacation in your life.
George isn't that guy, is he? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That is such crap. There are days even Michael Jordan didn't want to play basketball. Like,
basketball. All right, that's it. It's 1:45. It's time to end the podcast.
Hey, we did pretty good.
Everyone, thank you for watching, for listening, for being here. Make sure you go subscribe to Josh's channel over at Hometown TCG.
I'm almost at 9K. So if you're here and you have watched my content, you like it, you haven't hit the button yet, I never do this, but I'm pushing for the 9K.
You're pushing to 9K. Get Josh to 9K, everybody.
My power level over 9,000.
You can head to gamegrove.gg, use the discount code GamerGrove to save 6% off of your order, and go to cardi.io to check that out. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for being here. George, rest in peace. We'll see you again next week. Remember, be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.
We won't see him next week.
I messed this up. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and may the zoo be with you.
And also with you, dude.
There we go. We did it.
Where was the opening crazy comment?